All right, it's practically on the tables of lots of Nigerians, and today wouldn't be a difference. As this morning we're looking at the arms proliferation in Nigeria. It's like it got to a point where it was, would I say, it was some admonishment where a governor cited or stated that at this point, with the rising level or the upsurge in insecurity, Nigerians basically should arm themselves. Of course, we got various reactions from various quarters, but this morning, emphasis is on arms proliferation in Nigeria. Before I get into the conversation, I'll get connected with my guest. I have comrade Chris Makunwosu. He's on standby. We're going to take it off like right now. Right now, we're going to look at various segments, various concerns with regard to the arms proliferation in Nigeria. Let's just hang on a bit as we get connected with comrade Chris. I hope it takes this like right now. Hello.
Hello. Good morning, Nicole.
A very good morning to you, sir.
Yes.
Okay, let's just hit the ground running as we had earlier when we spoke. We really would delve into the conversation ASAP. Now, this morning we're looking at arms proliferation in Nigeria. The worsening insecurity in Nigeria manifested in terrorist attacks, banditry, kidnapping, communal clashes, violent crimes, cult wars, ethnic and regional militias, and the like provide enough evidence that small and illicit arms are in circulation in abundance. On the other hand, the acquisition of small arms through legal means is being done by Nigerians to ensure self-help against violence acts because the nation's security infrastructure seems to have been overwhelmed. It's no longer story. It's not just coming from unverified mediums. Well, the smuggling of small arms into Nigeria is a clear evidence of the failure of the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS protocol. Under this protocol, security agencies in member countries are expected to cooperate in order to prevent the smuggling of illegal weapons in the sub-region. The question of small arms is dealt with, of course. We got some articles 50 and 51 of the protocol. And moving on to you, comrade Chris, let's just get into the conversation. I've done basics with the introduction. Let's get into the arms proliferation as it worsens insecurity and also as firearms bills suffer delay. Over to you, comrade.
Okay. I must confess I did struggle to be able to hear you, and it didn't quite come clear. But I think I got the piece, the meat of the issues you raised.
Yeah.
And if you're hearing me clearly,
Yes,
then
I can.
I think
I can.
Okay. Okay. The issue of proliferation of light and medium or small arms, around the country is a very saddening development because you could link that directly to the spate of insecurities that is ravaging parts of the country today. However, beyond the West African angle and all the treaties that exist, I think we need to bring the issues home firstly, because as it is said, when there is fire on the mountain, you look, at your immediate environment first. Beyond the treaties at the West African level, we have security agencies that are saddled with the responsibilities of protecting and our borders to make sure that unwanted matters do not get into the country. So first and foremost, I did like to observe that the level of proliferation that we have experienced is as a result of the failure of the security agencies saddled with policing the border. And I am not surprised that this is happening. When contrary to the express provisions of the statutes, the men of the customs and excise leave the border posts and the surroundings to go and man the hinterlands where they are by law not supposed to be found, while there are leakages around the border, could be said to be responsible for these issues. The other time I was reading a piece of news And I don't know how correct it is or not, but being a regular traveler on that route too, somebody was saying that there are almost about close to 10 custom checkpoints between Lagos and Owerri. So when you take that into cognizance, you begin to wonder whether the nation is getting it right by allowing members of the customs and operatives of the customs and excise to go and while away in the hinterlands, trying to stop contraband that they deliberately, or so to say, allowed to find its ways into the country through the borders. I should think that if we are serious about stopping the proliferation of light arms and the likes, the first thing to do is that the government has to review the operational routine of the Nigerian customs. We need to put square pegs in square holes. Who will, post the operatives to where their services are really, really required. I agree that we have a lot of porous situations around the borders, but that is the more reason why more customs operatives have to be detailed there, because it is, I have this belief. I'm not trying to exonerate people who engage in the trading of contraband materials and stuff like that. But the truth is that I do not see the sense in allowing these things to pass through the border, sometimes even through deliberate connivance with these men of custom and excise duties. And then you now go and mount a checkpoint in Asaba or at Ali Tekede or at Shagamu or anywhere before Owerri, and then begin to wait for petty traders who came to Lagos, for example, to buy what you regard as contraband materials, to go look for their daily bread in the various markets within the hinterlands. That is to me not the way to go. So before we blame the failure of the treaties at the West African level, I did love the government to first and foremost exhaust all the options available to it to curb these things. And talking about government, I want to also believe from the reports we have had so far, both of the insecurity in the northwest, both of the insecurity in the northeast, or the insecurities we now have in the southeast, and of course the rising attacks in the southwest. All the things are done because there are connivance and sometimes, serving and retired top government officials have been pointed at. We've had investigations in the past where, for example, some foreign countries have given enough tips on those who are involved in the funding of Boko Haram. We've not had much about that. No arrests have been made to the best of my knowledge. Where there is an arrest, before you could say, Jack, the persons are released and they're back on their trade once again. So I think there is this proliferation enjoys the lifts and the surge that it has experienced because government has not pragmatically attacked the situation. I believe and I am convinced that there are people or persons in government or very powerful Nigerians who may have been out of government but are still quite influential that are in the business of this arms dealing. That's why I think it's thriving. It's not necessarily because if the customs wants to checkmate it, they will not be able to checkmate it. I have this feeling that each time you see the customs or men of the operators of customs at the borderlines, exposing or granting press conferences over seizures, those are people who disagree with them. That's my thinking, and I have been close enough also to some traders at some point in my life to know that disagreements do hold. So for me, it's time we need to sit back and look at the issues. Unfortunately, this government is on its way out, and I'm one of those who feel that there is nothing else that Buhari incidentally has to offer on the security challenges the country is facing. So the earlier we begin to look forward and think forward, the better for us. And I think that the 2023 election will be a make or break election for Nigeria. What I mean by make or break is not about the entity called Nigeria, but getting it right or continuing in in the mess. I'm sorry to use that word that the country has found itself in. So we have an opportunity to redeem this country by making sure that we vote the right caliber of politicians into leadership, political leadership positions. I'm talking about politicians whose antecedents clearly show that they have the political will to tackle the problems bedeviling the country, of which there's a proliferation of light arms and medium arms is one of it.
Okay.
I think I'll leave it there for now.
All right. Well, at some point, according to the Navy, we got this report in 2021. On arms proliferation, Chadian soldiers sell guns for as low as $20 and endanger Nigeria's security. Now, a former deputy president of the Senate, Ike Kwerimadu, raised alarm some time ago as well over the looming danger with the proliferation of security outfits and vigilante groups without regulation by the federal government. Of course, Ekweremadu in an interview stated that while he had always advocated for the establishment of policing systems at the state level, arming people to protect lives and property without government regulation portends danger for the polity. He said, under the Firearms Act, only the president can permit you to carry arms, and he also determines what level of arms you can carry. Otherwise, carrying arms by anybody is completely forbidden. But now you see people carry arms, and sometimes they actually abuse the use of these arms. Sometimes they go and fire at people who are assembling freely. So these are some of the fears that people are having, and this can get worse. Of course, we understand it's gotten worse. At the point when this report or interview was conducted, it hadn't gotten to this point where everyone is overwhelmed. All right. Besides, men that have the core responsibility for safety of lives and property, Nigerians world over, we are at a point where we really don't know what works with regards to security right now. Now, let's delve into the challenges in combating the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. Over to you, Kamri.
A very important, aspect you raised there. On the issue of complementary security apparatuses for the recognized apparatuses in the country. The point was firstly made that in as much as within the rank and file of vigilante groups or whatever you call them that bear arms, either legally or illegally, sometimes you find bad eggs like we had in Double Lion, the recently, executed Double Lion, who was reported to be the official head of the vigilante group of a community in Anambra State, but who turned into a daredevil, maintaining a camp at Asumohu, where they took kidnappers and all that. The irony is that in the morning times, people go to report to him without knowing that they are reporting to their captors. In this guy. So, but much as those exist, the point has to be made that to a very large extent, when vigilante groups are organized and armed, liaising with the police, the police at their local levels, there has always been better results, and there are a lot of scenarios to point to buttress that. So I think part of the problem is the politics that has gotten into the security, into the business of securing the nation. What do I mean by that? If a governor has a frosty relationship with Mr. President and wants to establish a vigilante to work with the police in his state or area, the federal government does everything to frustrate such positions. But where it is somebody a state governor who is in the good books of the federal government, they may not grant an express approval, but they look the other way while everything goes on under those states. These are part of the problem. I see no reason why, in the face of the challenges that we are facing, that the president cannot allow governors who have the means and who have the will to fight insecurity in their respective areas to carry arms. I'll give you an example. During the tenure of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi as governor of Anambra State, he came aboard at a time when insecurity was back in Anambra State and was at its peak. You recall he came with a lot of policies, including he was the first to broach this policy of demolition houses of kidnappers who were caught in the act and stuff like that. But all those things worked because the government of the day cooperated with him and allowed him to establish and train a proper vigilante group that was working in synergy with the police. And within some time, the issue of insecurity was stopped in Anambra State. Because, like our people say, you don't approach a man who has a gun with bare hands. Most people who commit crime, no matter be they kidnappers, be they petty thieves and all that, most of them bear arms, one form of arm or the other. And so it is wrong to establish, a security outfit at the state level, and you want them to approach these people with bare hands. But how did it work in Anambra State? I was privy, at a point in time, I was Assistant General Secretary of my community in Anambra State, apart from having worked at all the levels. There were times I was also Publicity Secretary. And incidentally, these were the times that these things were happening. So I got a lot of insight into what was happening. What happened then was that every arm, being used by the vigilante group in the entire Anambra State was registered with the police. They were in total, for example, if it's election time, the police will now recall all the arms, they will take them to the police station, and it's kept there safely until after the election. So the issue of them deploying it for the wrong use during election does not even arise at that point in time. So, I look back and I say, why can't we replicate this scenario all over the country? Because that's why I talk about exhausting the options available to us before even looking outside. There are two things to do. One, we need to man the borders. When we properly man our borders, remove men of the customs and excise who are conniving with importers, unscrupulous importers to import light arms into the country, and then also allow state governments who have the capacity to form arm-bearing vigilante groups. Because throughout the time I referenced in Anambra State, I doubt we had any serious, ugly incident involving the vigilante groups, because they were equipped, they were given operational vehicles, they were paid salaries, they were kitted. So when you see them, they were organized and everything was just moving. But because today we have a scenario where, I'm sorry to bring that into we have a scenario where Governor Sam Otum just formed a local security apparatus.
Yes, he did.
And is applying for them to bear arms. And the federal government is dragging. In a state where Fulani herdsmen wreak havoc every hour, in a state where Fulani herdsmen could attack and wipe out an entire village, now how would that security outfit that Autumn, has formed serve its purpose? And how would the federal government, in good conscience, justify its frustration to have that security outfit function maximally? Because there is little or nothing they can do if they are not armed. So we need to be truthful to amend the laws to allow state-recognized or state-formed security agencies like vigilante groups bear arms. Let's do that. We have tried one thing for so long and it's not working. So we need to try another. We need to think out of the box. It's not just, enough to say the Constitution didn't permit this, only the president can grant licenses for this, only this and that. This is why we're talking about restructuring. So again, whatever, no matter how you look at what is happening in this country today, you can't help but continue to appeal to Nigerians to get it right in 2023, because unless the right foundation is laid, then the salvation is not in sight. We need leaders who are creative. We need leaders who are elastic. We need leaders who are firm-willed. Leaders who have the political will to take the bull by the horn. And they are the situations. If you don't venture, you can't have success. So for me, the issues are very clear. The problem with Nigeria is that sometimes we leave the issues and we gerrymander around the periphery. We organize talk shops, pay exorbitant appearance fees for guest speakers and all that, while away the country's fund, when even a local person can tell you effectively what to do to checkmate the scenario you're brainstorming over in Abuja. So for me, the situation calls for realism. We need to all be realistic, and we need to see security as something that if we do not handle firmly at this point in time, we might, just dissolve into a banana island any moment from now.
we really don't envisage it, but be that as it may, it's still Omega 101.7 FM, Mount Radio's your radio. It's the point of view. My name is Tsunami, and I have comrade Chris McCool also on the other side, and we're looking into the arms proliferation. We've actually started, we've gone far. Well, if you were just joining, you can follow us on our social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and social at Omega 101.7 FM to be part of the online community. All right, on the 5th of August, our vice president spoke, and he stated that local arms production was key to tackling insecurity, even as more states to procure AK-47 as insecurity worsens. Well, he stated that the state government was working on it. So let's get your views on the production of local arms as a key to tackling insecurity.
Well, that's one of those talk shops that I'm talking about that does not really make too much sense to me or add up. Whether you produce arms locally or not, the important thing is that unless you checkmate the leakages that result in those arms getting into the wrong hands, the arms produced locally can still get into the hands of criminals. That's the point.
Yes.
So I do not see how that is paramount in our quest to seek solutions or proper solutions to the insecurities in the country. It's more or less, first there has to be policy shifts. There has to be policy shifts that will ensure that even things that are not expressly stated in the Constitution or that may appear to be at variance to the statutes, if they need to be done, that they should be done. If it means the National Assembly urgently meeting to alter the relevant sections, fine and good. But we haven't even gotten to that because, like we said, the President and the Police Service Commission have enormous powers. For example, except the laws have changed, it is not only the President that can issue licenses. The Police Service Commission, or thereabouts, has this, there's a body, within the police force or that oversees the police force that also is saddled with the right to license certain caliber of firearms, things like pump action, double barrels and all single barrels and all that. And this is likely what is required to operate at the vigilante levels in the various localities. So I do not see why, for political reasons, things that will work are being hedged upon. I'll give you an example. Can you imagine what the Southwest would have been like now without the presence of Amotekun, given what we have seen in the last couple of months? Most of the arrests of dangerous elements that we have witnessed in the Southwest was masterminded by the men of Amotekun and all that. Yes, openly we are told they don't bear arms, but you and I, with application of common sense, would know that some of the feats that they have achieved couldn't have been achieved by using bare hands. So that's what I mean by creativity. We need to be creative. If a governor has a resounding relationship with his state police commissioner, even though he's under federal control, they can do a lot together to fight crime in their states, except, of course, for states where it's evident that the governors are having frosty relationship with Abuja. For example, I made the example of Otom. I do not think today in Benue State there is anything Otom would want to do that the state police commissioner would want to cooperate with him for fear of reprisal. Ditto for states like River State and a few others where the governors have been outspoken. But we see Ondo where we have a very courageous governor in the person of Akeredolu. And despite being of the APC, he has had cause to publicly disagree with the powers that be on the issue of Amotekun and other related issues. And as you can see, they've taken the bull by the horn and they are making progress. So I think rather than wait for the federal government that has clearly shown that it lacks capacity to arrest the dwindling security situation in the country, I think the states need to take their fate into their hands and then try to be creative or creatively attack the insecurities they have in their own states with as much cooperation as they can get from the relevant authorities there.
Okay. Well, I know oftentimes talking about insecurity, we have a caller, Achipa. I think he's the one. Yes, I can deal with the fact that he said this repeatedly. Besides projection into the 2023 elections, what Nigerians are craving for right now is security. Okay. It was also cited that there may not be credible election in 2023. That's the NNPP declaring with the spate of insecurity in the land, even as Otom stated that terrorists, he worked with figures accurately, that terrorists have killed over 5,000 in Benue since 2021. He launched a 500 volunteer guard to be armed with AK-49 and wage war against terrorists. Fulanese. Let's get your view on that, even as we get the audience to be part of the conversation.
Well, it is not out of place for anybody to begin to, move the thought that if the way things, are going, is not checkmated security-wise, that it may be difficult to have election in parts of the country.
True.
That is a very that fear has become palpable, and it's becoming stronger by the day because the government appears to be losing hold every day, especially particularly in the hinterland, in parts of the south, the northwest, and even in parts of the southeast today. You cannot boast that there can be elections everywhere, except, of course, in a few states where the governors are now, taking the bull by the horn, chiefly in Anambra State and Imo State. You cannot boast that elections will hold in some other states. In some remote parts of those states, because you never can tell what will happen. I'll give you an example. We had situations during the last primaries in Anambra State. I was part of scenarios where you write INEC to come and monitor election in certain local governments in Anambra State, and they will tell you they're not coming. You write as political parties. The political parties write the police, come and monitor election in so and so local government. They are for dragging, they don't want to come. They tell you, bring it to Oka. So what if it has gotten that bad right now? It will mean that if nothing is done, we will have scenarios in 2023 where you may not even be able, where INEC may not even be able to generate the ad hoc staff that will go to work in those environments. Because nobody wants to go and die, no matter the pay. So we've seen INEC ad hoc staff suffer tragedies in times past, even in the 2019 general election. And then it wasn't as bad as this. So there is ample need. I agree with those who are of that opinion. There is ample need to do something drastic to be able to checkmate the generation of security in parts of the country, so that we can have enough sense of security that will, work in synergy with the quest to have a very credible election in 2022. Because in the final analysis, if a politician comes from an area that he knows probably he will lose. He would not even want this issue to be arrested because he would prefer a scenario where the elections are not robust in those areas because if it becomes very robust, then his or her chances of coming back becomes very remote. So some people might even be walking towards that direction. That's why it's very important for government to ensure that the 2023 general election goes on as planned. Because as for me, I align with the fears that if things are not reversed in terms of the insecurity we are having in certain areas, it may be difficult to hold elections in those areas, and no one can tell exactly how it will turn out or what it will end in.
Exactly.
And we don't want to add any other, constitutional imbroglio to the gamut of problems that the nation is suffering already. For me, I see Nigeria as a country at the precipice right now. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder, and we don't need anything that will trigger, the situation. So for me, they have a point, and government should take them seriously and work assiduously, even if you have lost initiative, with those who have, better initiatives to ensure that things do not degenerate further.
All right, thank you so much, comrade. At this point, we would get the audience to participate. That let you take a breather, listen, and then at some point, you would, of course, summarize on the views from several callers. All right, let's just go on a quick break. When we get back, the phone lines would be open officially to get in your comments, reactions, and contributions.
To be part of the conversation, dial 081 51017777 and 09071121017. Please make your submissions known in a civilized manner. Put off emotional and all ethno-religious sentiments. Make verifiable claims on this platform. Respect the views of other callers, and 2 minutes is given to every caller. Each person is entitled to only one call to enable others to participate. Point of view, airing your views for the transformation of our society.
All right, welcome back. It's still the point of view right here in Omega 101.7 FM, Mount Radio, Radio. It's been the arms proliferation in Nigeria. We're looking at it from various angles and statements cited from various sources as well. Sharing vocal duties with me has been comrade Chris Wosu on the other side. It's time to be part of the conversation. You can follow us on our social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Social, and YouTube at Omega 101.7 FM. 0815-1017-777. Good morning.
Good morning, my humble moderator, Danko Salami.
A very good morning to you, sir.
You're supposed to come on the dating for more. Getting this number this time around become a battle for magic.
All right, sir.
Give load of thanks
Okay.
to our A-Gaze. Chris, I say, check my load of thanks. Mr. Speaker, matter of fact, when you talk about armed proliferation in this country, you will attribute it to the issue of border porosity. And as a matter of fact, this is one of the things Wolowo told Vic in those days. It says, the North don't have a good border. It's everywhere is full of corruptness. And therefore, having anything to do with these people in one united country will affect us in future to come. And that's where we are today. As a matter of fact, and the government of the day is not in any way doing something meaningful to do something that will be able to prevent this porosity in our borders, especially in the north, where it is worst. And when we talk about the issue of autumn, yes, autumn has did a very good job, but will they allow him to carry AK-49 and AK-47? The answer is no. And when you look at all these things, that will tell you something that is going on. And as a matter of fact, this very Pacific government were full of suspicious. For anyone who don't understand where government is celebrating. But some people say they know. As a matter of fact, this very particular armed proliferation, I tell you, is working day by day. Being from Niger, from Cameroon, from all the places, from Niger. And when you look at it, there is no way that you can stop it. And when I always accuse the West, because they are the people that are selling these arms to this African continent. Look at what's happening in Congo. Look at Mali. Look at Cameroon. And when I said, when we have problems there here in the continent of Africa, they will not come and settle it amicably, but they will like to arm each other to destroy us. That's why I'm talking about African leaders will wake up. Let them follow the footsteps of President Museveni of Uganda and Trump here and Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. Let Africa wake up and have what Thomas Nkrumah in 1963. Let them go there so they can be united together and be able to fight this armed proliferation. And then, without this coming together and having Africa, they cannot achieve anything meaningful in terms of this issue. Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you to 0815-1017-777. We have also Francis and Namani watching live from Amagunze in Enugu State, and he's saying that arms proliferation is mainly caused by some of our political leaders who hire thugs during elections and equip them. Again, government should assume her primary responsibility of protecting lives and properties rather than shifting them to ordinary citizens. And then finally, let our borders be keenly and thoroughly controlled to address this proliferation of arms. Thank you very much. Also, Francis. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
A very good morning to you.
This is calling from Olu.
You're welcome.
I want to thank Pastor Carfor for the wonderful contribution he made this morning. And the truth is this. Are we talking of providing a solution to how this insecurity is going to be tackled? Is it our problem in this country, or is the political way of those that are in authority to do the needful? We see how these things are going on in the country. Okay, most earlier you have complained that the Sambisa forest is as big as this, as big as that. And look at the kidnapping that we have been having, especially in Kaduna State. And we have somebody that is going there to negotiate, and they keep negotiating and releasing those people that have been kidnapped from the train attack. But our military cannot penetrate there to rescue these people. And we say we are a country that we are willing to move forward. Okay, let's forget the northern part of the country. Come to the southern part of the country here, especially in this Imo State, Oweraba Road. We keep hearing of this kidnapping in that road. And we know that those perpetrators are inside that bush. What is keeping and holding our military or the police people to invade that bush is there? We just keep quiet and things are moving on in this country. The truth is that those in authority, I don't know, because their body language begin to look at if they are corporate in this mess that you have been into. We can't talk of state policing. They will never agree to that. See how everything has been said that we need state policing so that every state will protect themselves. Every region will take care of their people, but no to that. And we know some group of people that are perpetrating this, especially the headers. But the prayer government is never see it as a problem. And we are here because they had to do this. So we know our problem. We know what we do to let it to come to an end. But you can never do it. I know the citizens are all sitting down, relaxing. If it happens to be in other country, people will go out, people will occupy people will protest, people will nationalize, and everything will come to the standstill. But here, I don't know. It's just because most of the find out is that when they put cat and dog in a place, how can we come together and agree on a particular thing? That is our problem in this country. Thank you.
All right. Arms proliferation in Nigeria. 0815-1017-777. Hello?
Hello? Good morning, my sister.
A very good morning to you.
I don't know if you are hearing me.
Of
This is
course, I
Chiwon from
can.
Akoko. I'm
I
not
can hear
hearing
you.
you.
I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you.
Now, this very program is a program that is very important in this country, Nigeria. It's a very important program to handle in this country, Nigeria. Right now, our major problem is the system we are using. The system that allow one to live after killing a lot of people. Not only allowing the person to live, but also involving the person in the military. If you punish someone that do evil, it will not allow others to buy the idea of going the same way. But when you encourage one who kill and destroy a lot of people's lives by giving the person ammunition to protect the same people who be killing, what do you expect from that? Our problem is the constitution that allows evil to be encouraged. Because if you punish the governor who still, I don't know, let me just say that what we need to do is to dissolve this country. Because that's the only way.
Well, whilst you're at it on your thought, it's solely yours. The views of callers are solely theirs and not that of Omega FM. Let's deal with the subject matter. We're not talking about dissolution of the country or Nigerian. We're talking about arms proliferation and help you with a reminder on the discourse, please. So when you go about your contribution, first off, make verifiable claims and please be civil with your utterances. I am quite optimistic. I really don't want to deal with pessimism this morning. Hello?
Hello, my good sister, Dako Salami. God bless you.
And bless you right back.
Hello, Dako Salami. God bless you.
And bless you right back, sir. I can hear you. Hello? Oh, I really do know what's happening. What's with it? I can hear you loud and clear. 0815-1017-777 or 0907-112-1017. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Hello, good morning.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear. What's happening?
Hello?
Oh my, I don't know what's happening. Possibly we'll get the engineers to look this up. 0815-1017-777. I can hear you loud and clear. So what's with not hearing from me directly? Hello? 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 Okay, this one I can hear myself at the background. So apparently you heard. 0815-1017-777. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
Hello?
Go ahead, I can hear you. Whoa, what's happening all of a sudden? But let's see some this one is from Solomon UC Okezia from Olu. He's saying that the Holy Bible said in John 8:32. Oh, please, this is rather hello?
Hello, Dako. Good morning.
Morning to you, sir.
Yeah, this is Barazin from Ojiriba.
Go ahead.
You see, the problem with our position, they don't always talk about insecurity. They always talk of how to loot our treasure. Because sometimes when I look at these politicians, they are just the people who don't want Nigeria to grow. Whenever they are doing all these things, they always go for their pockets. You see, like ASO now, sorry to say this, ASO is on strike. They don't think about ASO. They don't think about security. They think about how to become the head of Nigeria, how to become president. This is very, very wrong to our people. Let them exercise their presence and think more about insecurity in Nigeria. Kidnappers, herdsmen, other non-government, they know them. Look at somebody like somebody who said that he's negotiating with the kidnappers. What is that wrong? Why is it that they can't equip our military to flush these people out of the forest? Which kind of forest is in Nigeria? Let them think more about security. That's the leadership of this nation. If you don't think about security, you are not doing anything right in Nigeria. Thank you. I'm from Ojiriba.
Yeah. You know, 2023 has lots of okay, there are lots of expectations in view. Basically, I really wouldn't want to say what I have underneath, but let's keep going. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Good morning, Dako.
Morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Chief Nam is my name. I'm calling from Omish.
Go ahead, sir.
The topic you are treating this morning is a very serious issue. In arms proliferation in Nigeria, with its attendant insecurity
Yes.
ravaging the nation. First of all, our borders are porous. The custom and excise that are in charge of checkmating the influx or the incoming of all these arms do not take their assignment seriously. Because I don't see the reason why you have a lot of checkpoints coming from Lagos to Imo State, over 20 of them. You are interested in getting what people have spent their money, they go their way, they bought with their market. And then you leave all those borders to criminals who engage in importing arms. Then everywhere into the hinterland will be full of licensed and unlicensed arms. So customs should be blamed. Federal government should review their appointments. So that is the beginning of solving the arms proliferation in Nigeria. Good morning.
All right. Okay. One more call and we'll read through the messages that came. With that, Comrade will wrap it up. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me? Good
I
morning.
can hear you. Go ahead. Good morning.
Hello?
Whoa. I can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, good morning.
Whoa, I really don't know what's happening. Some persons can hear, some others can't. 0815-1017-777. I hope this one can hear. Hello?
Hello, that question.
Morning to you.
Good morning, my good sister. God bless you.
And bless you right back.
Now, you see what? I'm trying to comment on what you are saying. And to me, this arms proliferation is not a surprise to me, but it is only a one, because I know what is going on. Number one, our borders are very open for whoever may come in, and these are on arrival. Who are these people coming? Most of them could be bandits, others may be terrorists, and they don't have to check out their guns. Also, all these attacks on police stations and barracks, where the arms are carted away with. That issue, everywhere. Also, corruption is in Nigeria. Compromise is too much. Everybody can do everything. This time, our leaders, as mentioned by Buhari, who he did not call the names, said people are sponsoring it. As the sponsors, not the people who get this arms for them, don't you see? How long will I say? How will I see if I pass on in any way? I said that the gods are protected by those who have big heads in Nigeria. They know how to make it. Sometimes the conference on the road, I instructed to leave some people, and that's not being affected. How can we get this type of things in our midst? That is all. I'm a best brother. And I live. God bless you.
All right, thank you too. And that wraps it up on the phone conversations. We sincerely apologize to as many as tried to reach us or get across to us, but had issues with the output. I really don't know what happened, but let's get over to Comrade Chris as he summarizes on the views of callers. Over to you, Comrade.
Yeah, thank you very much. Listening to the contributors and the callers, 2-3 factors comes to mind. one conspiracy between arms dealers and the people in authority. Then there is also the issue of lack of political will, as raised by some of the caller, to do the right thing. Then there is also the aspect of the customs really abdicating their duty points, which I enunciated at the beginning of the program. So if you look at the whole thing, the fear is general. Everybody is seeing the danger, and then it is something that has to be stopped. But as you can see from the responses we got, there is no confidence that this present order can deal with that situation. And so it leaves us with the thought about, I talked about going forward.
Yeah.
The solution appears to lie in 2023, which is no longer too long away.
Sure.
Before then, we can only pray that the country holds some together, because we have no other country other than this. And it is our duty to protect it the best way we could. So we pray that we will get to that point when Nigerians will be faced with another opportunity to elect purposeful leaders who will have both the political will and the patriotic knack to do what is right. Because I think in summary, what we are suffering that has given rise to this is leadership failure. Leadership failure in the sense that those in position of authority are not performing and there are no repercussions. For example, somebody talked about people going into the bush to negotiate with bandits.
Yeah, exactly.
And then coming out with released prisoners, people who have been abducted and all that. And the Nigerian security apparatuses with all the intelligence materials at their disposal, with all their powers and with everything at their disposal, can't still track those people, round them up, or wipe them out. I believe it is not about capacity. It is about the political will to do so. And it would appear that right from the top, that lack of political will is very, very palpable, which is why even where we have bold governors who want to confront the situation head on, they do not get the cooperation that will allow or enable them to do that effectively from the center. So it's a very pathetic situation, but it's not something. If I tell you that I'm confident that this present government can tackle, the rising cases of proliferation of small arms, then I'm lying. So in summary, what I do still insist is that governors who have the capacity and the resources to go the extra mile should devise a way to deal with the situation. If they don't know how to do it, they should confer with governors like Yesom Wike, confer with governors like Professor Charles Soludo, who just came on board but is doing wonderfully well in checkmating insecurity in Anambra State.
Right.
And then confer with people like Akere Dolu, like I said. There are governors that they can take cues from. Okay. Even here in Lagos State, the governor is not done bad security-wise. So let them put it together and know how they are going to safeguard, their states until, of course, we get to the next order and hopefully have a purposeful president who will have the political will to wipe out the banditry in the northwest and Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast, and of course the UGM scourge. We have now rearing its head up.
I tell you indeed. All right, thank you so much, comrade, for doing this with me on short notice. I appreciate you. Do have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, bye. All right. This is how far we can go on the program tomorrow till the time for grassroots governance. And we're looking into a concern of Nambarians. My name is Dako Tsunami at 10:30, but time for the late mega morning show with Mimi. To have a good day. As several programs are lined up for your listening pleasure.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are entirely those of the individuals and not of Omega 101.7 FM.